Good night.
All right, we have been watching the presidential debates, and that was
2020 concludes a night
that
of
was
chaos and
something.
interruption.
I mean, we knew that Trump was going to be combative. We knew that Trump was going to be uh, unruly and uncivil and all of the things that he is. We knew that, and I thought that Chris Wallace held it together pretty good, considering what he was dealing with and who he was dealing with. Trump on the defensive was not good. Biden, I thought, made a good showing for himself. It's difficult to keep up with Trump's campaign messages. You know, it's difficult. So, what version of the candidates did we see? Trump and his Republican allies have been trying to brand Biden as a socialist since he emerged as the Democratic nominee. And there were moments that Trump's repeated interrupting just threw things off, right? They were talking about the Green New Deal at one point, and Biden, of course, has his own plan, which is not the Green New Deal. But they Trump kept throwing the Green New Deal on him so much that at one point in time, he started talking about the Green New Deal, and Chris Wallace was like, wait, you support the Green New Deal? He was like, well, no, I support the Biden thing. It was just because Trump kept interrupting so much. Trump is like a child, right? He's like a child. And if you really pay attention to the part that they were talking about election integrity and absentee voting, Trump and Biden debating in Cleveland. And I thought that it ended with an excellent question. But from Trump, as usual, you did not get any answers. Right? This was the first of 3 primetime debates between these two candidates ahead of November 3rd. Now, Chris Wallace did the best that he could do. They talked about election integrity, climate change, racial justice, taxes, job creation, COVID-19, healthcare, the Supreme Court. We did not get a lot of facts about this when it came to Trump. All right. Now, Trump did all the greatest hits, the Trump greatest hits. The best economy, African American, that whole thing. One thing that you haven't heard Trump throw at Biden too much, and that was the super predator charge. He did throw the 94 crime bill at him. And like many things, Trump tried to blame Biden for Trump's taxes and ducking and dodging and only paying $750 in U.S. taxes. He lied, talking about Trump, about how much he paid. The information that the Times reported from is his taxes, right? And ahead of this debate, Kamala Harris and Joe Biden put out their 2019 tax returns. Of course, the reason that Trump refuses to put out his tax returns is because he claims that he's being audited. This audit has been going on, forever. And when Trump is dead and gone, Junior's going to probably say, yeah, well, it's still being audited. I mean, that's how long this is going to go on. But the two candidates sparred over their respective plans for health care. Trump has no plan. Trump's only plan is to get rid of the mandate. I mean, that's his plan. So the same plan, Obamacare, just minus one thing, and that makes it Trump's plan. No, Trump has no plan. And it's unfair to say that Joe Biden was interrupting Trump when Trump interrupted him many times, many times. And the focus on COVID, I thought that the fact that when you talk about the over 200,000 Americans that have died during this pandemic, and Trump has such a low standard that he says, oh, if it was you, it would be even more. No, it would be less. Anybody else, okay? Anybody else. My niece could have run this better than Trump because she would have listened to her advisors and the scientists and the people that knew better. Trump doesn't listen to anybody and knows nothing. Knows nothing. He's still saying that vaccine's going to be, he's going to say that the vaccine is a very political thing from the scientists. These are the Republicans that are in his campaign, that are in his administration. They know the real deal. They know what's going on. But tonight I thought was interesting. We're going to see next week a vice presidential debate. The first question tonight, Chris Wallace talked about the Supreme Court. Why are you right about the argument you make? And where do you think Justice Barrett will take the court? I think that ultimately, going into this debate as an American, you pretty much knew who you supported. If you supported Trump or you supported Biden, I don't think that this debate changed anything for you. The two politicians differ on climate change, differ on green energy. As you've heard him say before, Trump blames forest management as the cause of the wildfires on the West Coast. And like most things, he avoided specifics on climate change beliefs because he doesn't even have any. He doesn't have any. The two debated on racial justice in America. Biden hammered Trump for saying after the violent rally in Charlottesville that there were very fine people on both sides. You remember that. Trump says that the words were taken out of context. They weren't taken out of context. You heard them just like everybody heard them. You remember that deadly car attack, the violent clashes in Charlottesville. That was a disastrous thing for the country. The candidates addressed the federal tax code and the president's income taxes. As I said, Joe Biden and Harris have put out their tax returns from last year, but the president still not doing it. And when pressed on the New York Times report that he only paid $750 in federal taxes in 2016 and 2017, the president claims he paid millions of dollars in taxes. But as I said, still won't release his tax returns. Show us your tax returns, Biden responded with. But Trump didn't have any answer for that. Paid millions of dollars in taxes. As it relates to the COVID-19 response, of course, the candidates differed on that. I thought that this was a very powerful exchange for Joe Biden. You can't fix the economy until you fix the COVID-19 crisis, Joe Biden said, of the job losses during this terrible pandemic. And he has no intention of doing anything about making it better for all of you at home in terms of your health and your safety. There were some key things that Joe Biden did tonight, and that was talking to the camera directly and talking to the American people. He did that a lot, and I thought that it was very, very powerful what he did. Now, you're going to have the people that don't like Joe Biden. They're just on the Trump bandwagon. But these exchanges where Biden showed that he's talking to the American people, there was a lot of back and forth about the families, your family this, my family that. Biden, in a very, very powerful moment, Biden admitted to something that we already knew, which was his son's drug use and problems with drugs, and he's gotten past it. At that point, the back and forth about the families, it was, I thought that Joe Biden showed character, not going down in the mud and talking about Trump's family, and he could have gone in the weeds with him, but he didn't. And I thought that was good. Trump once again blamed China for the coronavirus and doubted the mortality numbers in China, Russia, and India. Okay, so here's the thing. If you're doubting the numbers, that's because you think that they're underreporting, right? So you know that if they give you a number, that it's more than that if you think that they're underreporting. But that means that more people have died of the coronavirus, not less. But Biden placed the blame of the coronavirus in America, the response, where it belongs, on Trump. It is what it is because you are who you are. I thought that Biden's showing was very good. We cannot escape the fact, we cannot forget the fact that more than 200,000 Americans have died from COVID-19. And Trump is still casting doubt on the effectiveness of wearing a mask and mocking Joe Biden for doing it himself. Let's understand this. This guy is not the person who is going to keep America safe with regards to the coronavirus. During the debate, he again mocked Biden for wearing a mask. Let's make this perfectly clear. Trump did not build the greatest economy in U.S. history. Okay? Over the last 39 years, the real GDP has reached or exceeded Trump's peak year of 3%, a total of 17 times. So all of the hoopla about this great economy that he thinks he built, others have done even more. But again and again, he repeats this false claim because he's a promoter. He's not dealing in facts at all. He's just repetitive and saying the same thing over and over again and just sticks in somebody's head, but it's not true. It's not true. Trump did not build the greatest economy in history. Not even close. Not even in the top 5. Not even in the top 10 as far as economic expansion and job growth go. So, as I said, Trump and Biden opened the debate on the Supreme Court and healthcare, two very current and important subjects. So, Amy Coney Barrett has not been confirmed yet. And Joe Biden said that he's not opposed to the justice. She seems like a very fine person. So, but some of her writings have been, questionable. But the name calling that went down, Biden called Trump a clown repeatedly. And Trump is a clown. And he didn't even get offended by being called a clown because he knows he's a clown. So, it was interesting. It was interesting. Joe Biden held his own. Trump did what we expected, And Chris Wallace, as a moderator, that was a tough job that he had. A very tough job. Now, so let me say this. Wallace had planned out what they were going to talk about. And he asked Joe Biden directly whether he would support ending the filibuster or packing the Supreme Court. Biden did not answer that. So that was interesting. Joe Biden, of course, does not want to extinguish health insurance for 180 million people. And I don't think that anyone wants that. Even Trump, I don't think he wants that. I don't even think that he's involved or thinks about it. Right. And so the fact checkers are going to go and have a field day fact checking the many lies that Trump told. He tried to claim that he lowered drug prices. That is unclear. The evidence shows that Trump's claim that he dramatically lowered drug prices, mostly false. And it's interesting that on one hand he says one thing, and then when it is accepted as that's the way it is, then he tries to flip it and blame someone else for why he does certain things. He tries to play both sides in the middle, talking about Trump. But Chris Wallace, as I said, this was a difficult task, and he struggled early to navigate this discussion. Trump tried to take over many times. And Chris Wallace actually raised his voice at one time. Trump, tried to say funny things or get little laughs. The fact that there was not a big crowd in attendance and the crowd was barred from making noises was good. And, one of the early things that Trump said was, because Chris Wallace is trying to gain control of this, because as a moderator, and I've moderated many things, you have to gain control and get your respect. It's like a boxing match. You got to gain control and get your respect early. And Trump did not like that. He consistently ignored the request to stop talking over Joe Biden, and even talking over Chris Wallace when he was trying to talk. But I'm anxious to, get people's opinions. What did you think of the debate? Is there a winner or a loser? It's really hard to say. I think that Joe Biden looked presidential. I think that Trump looked like a juvenile, as he normally does. There was a lot of talk about, why didn't you do this? You had 47 years. Why didn't you do that? And then on the other hand, Trump says that he's taking advantage of stuff that Biden did. So a lot of sparring, not a lot of substance. There was styles make fights and styles make debates. And this debate lacked style. It lacked a lot of style. Of course, you listen to the Diamond K Show here on Radio on Fire. I will be back tomorrow as I watch this again. I'm going to watch this again and dive a little deeper into it. But of course, as I said, 7 p.m. tomorrow, radioonfire.com, thediamondkshow.com. It has been an interesting evening. Of course, we're going to have the vice presidential debate October 7th. That's going to be interesting, and we're going to be here at the Diamond K Show, at Radio on Fire, on social media, and I will see you guys tomorrow.